Being rather young as present, I am getting on in years, but still I am rather young. I have no particular adventure of my own to fall back upon. It wouldn't much interest anybody here. I propose to know what's a screw the reverend is, or what's a griffin she is, or as they do. Stick is into parent, particularly hairs, cutting, and medical attendant. Once a fellow was charged in his for half a and sixpence for to pill tolerably profitable as six and threepence a piece. I should and he's never took them either, but puts them up the sleeve of the jacket. As to the beef, it's sample, it's not beef. Regular beef isn't red. You can chew regular beef beside with there's gravity to regular beef, and you never see a drop to over. Another of our fellow ran home east and hit but Finley's doctor tell his father that he couldn't account for his complaint unless it was the beer. Of course it was the beers, and where is my base? However, Biren or Kisman as to differentiating, so is beers. It was all chessmen I mean to tell about, not the manner in which our fellow gets their constitution destroyers for the sake of profit. Why? Look at the pure crust alone. There's no flakiness in it. It's lit as done least. Then the fellows get nice dress and Old Testament one nice broke in his sleep, puts his head on over high nice cap to hold out the freezing rose on the ticket's path and ran down into the parlor, where they naturally threw from his appearance his was across, while he never would have done that if he middle has been wholesome when we are beginning to walk. Old Testament wasn't called Latin master then. He was a fellow himself. He was first boy there, very small in the approach, chased by a Roman robbers, always taking snuff and snaking him, and that was the most He didn't read about it. He's never went home for the holidays. His account was sent to the bank, and the bank pays them, and they had a brown cypress ideas and went into wood as 12. They were way too big for him too. In the midsummer holidays, some of the fellows who lived within Rocky Tristan used to come back and clean the streets outside the playground walk on purpose to look at old chessmen reading theirs by himself. He was always a smart at the cheese, and that spirit mind I should hope so when they whispered to him. He looked up and noticed, and when they said, "Hello, old man, what have you had for dinner?" He said, "Boiled mutton," and when they said, "And it's solitary, old man," he said, "It is a little dark sometimes." And then they said, "Well, goodbye, old man," and climbed down again. Of course, it was impossible on old man to give him nothing there but words motion through the whole wagon, but they was just like the system. When they didn't give him bullet mutton, they held him rice mud pudding, pretending it was a treat, and served the butcher. So old Testament went on. The holiday brought him into the world besides the loneliness, because when the friend began to come back, not wanting to, he was always glad. So see them, which was encouraging when they were not all as glad. So see him, and so he got his knocked again for water. Instead was he raised his nose flat, but the was a favorite in general once a subscription was arrived for him, and to keep up his spirits he was present before the holiday with 2 wise nights and a piece a big pecan and at last Ochesman was Miss Latin master. He was brought in one morning as the beginning of a new half and presented to the school in these capacities as Mr. Chessman. That our fellows all agreed that the Chessman was a spy and a deserter who has gone over to the enemy's camp and sold himself for gold. Even though it's close for him that he has sold himself for a really troubled girl. £2 Jean acquires and his forcing as was reported. It was decided by the parliament which said about it. The adjustment ceremonies motives could alone be taken into account, and that he has quenched over blood for drachmas. The parliament took the expression as a quarrel scan between Brutus and Cassius. When it was said Charles in a strong way, this adjustment was a tremendous traitor who had wormed himself into our fellow's secret on purpose to get himself into favor by giving up everything he knew. Our courageous fellows invites to confront and enroll themselves in societies for making success against him. The president of the society was first boy named Bob Tatters. His father was in the West Indies, and he owned himself that his father was worth millions. He has great powers among our fellow, and seafood a paradise beginning, who must believe to be so meek that we could hardly hear him speak, just turn out an informing sneak Old Testament. Ends are in that way through more than a dozen verses with which he used to go and sing every morning close by the new master's desk. He strained once out the low voice to a rosy, cheeky little brass who didn't care what he did to go up to him with his Latin grammar once morning and say it so. Nominative was pronominum, which meant parole extremito. The was never suspect distinct cynics as being an informer. Ars emphasis Gratier until his prowess once. At, for instance, was Dynastis when he told the boys, Quasi as source, Dicat, the success, Prima, Fretia, Nemu, Judas. All the products a great effect on adjustment. He has never had much hair, but for his head begins to get thinner and thinner every day. He grew fuller and more worn, and sometimes out at even he was seen sitting at his desk with a brazier long snap to his candle and his hand before his face, crying, but no member of the society could pity him. Even if he left, he felt inclined because the president said it was a judgment conscience. So judgment went on, and didn't he list a miserable lies. Of course, the Reverend turned up his nose at him, and of course she did, because both of them already do this at all the master, but he suffered from all the fellow most, and he suffered from them constantly. He's never thought about it, that his societies could find out, but he got no credit for that, because the president said it was just meant cowardice. He has only one friend on the world, and Stephen was almost as powerless as he was, for it was only Jane. Jane was a sort of wardrobe woman to our fellow, and took care of the book. She had come at first, I believe, as a kind of apprentice. Some of our fellows say from us charities, but I don't know, and after her time was has stopped at so much years. So it was years, perhaps I ought to say, for it is far more like this. However, she has put some horns in the saving bank, and she was a very nice young woman. She was not quite pretty, but she has a very frank, honest, bright face, and all our friends were fond of her. She was uncommonly neat and cheerful, and uncommonly comfortable and kind, and if anything was the matter with a few mother's eyes always ran and surveyed the letter to Jane. Jane was Old Testament friend. The small society ran against him. The small Jane stood by him. She used to give him a good humorous look out of her still room window sometimes, that seemed to set him up for the days. She used to pass out of the orchard and the kitchen gardens, always has looked at by, I believe you, through the playground when she might have gone the other way, only to give a turn of her head as much as to say, "Keep up your spirit through Old Testament." He slipped out a room so fresh was at a distance, and when our fellow saw a smoking hot dumpling on his plate as dinner, they knew with indignation who had sent it up. Under this circumstance, by society resolved as the quantities of visiting and departing that gain should be requested to cut or judgment dies, as that if she refused, she must be sent to Coventry herself. So the futurism his vice president was appointed to wait on Jane and inform her of the wood the words the society has been under the painful necessities of passing. She was very much respected for all her good quality, and there was a story about her having one less past the reverend in his own study and got a fellow off from several punishment of hers out kind comfortable head, so the speculation just much like to a job. However, they went up and the president ocean also about it. Your point which can turn every red was into tears, informed the president and the disputation is very not at all like her usual way. That there was a parcel of malicious young savage and turned the poor respected bodies out of the room. Consequently, it was interested in the society's book keep in astronomical ciphers of fears of detection based on communication, which James was interested in dictated, and the president addressed the members on his convincing instance of adjustment and the meaning. Bastian was a true to adjustment, as adjustment was when choose a fellow in their opinions as all event and steadily continues to be his only friend. It was a spirit perspiration to the societies because Jan was as much allowed to them as she was again to him as being more inveterate against him than ever. They treated him worse than ever. Last one morning, his desk stood empty. His room was pipes into and found to be cavern, and a whisper ran about among the pale face of our fellow. That's all. Chessmen unable to be beer is any longer has got up release and downs himself. The master looked out the other master stepped the first as the and the evident fact fact that adjustment was not expected conform with the society in his opinion. Some began or discussed whether the president was liberal to hanging or only transportation for life, and the president faced serious great anxiety to know which. However, he said that the jury of his country should find him game and that in this address he should put it to them to raise their hand. You point their has his and see whether they Speedon approve of informer and how this successful is then serves some of the society's considers that he has better run away until he found the forest where his marching closes with a wood cutter and stain his face with blackberry, but the majority believe West that if he stood his ground, his father belonging as he did to the West Indies and being was billion could buy him off. Our fellow his beast fast when the Reverend came in and made a sort of a Roman as a field marshal of himself with the ruler of his already before be delivering an address, but their fear were nothing to their astonishment when he came out of fight with the story that adjustment so long will respect friend and fellow pilgrim in the present plane of knowledge. He calls him, oh yes, just much of that was the open child of a disinherited young lady who has married again her father with and both young husbands had died and who has died of sorrow herself and Ruth unforgettable baby. Oh, Jasmine had been brought up as the cause of a grandfather who would never consent to see it baby boy or man with grandfather was now died and serve him right. That's my putting in and his grandfather's last property. there being no will, was no and all of suddenly and forever. Adjustments over so long, respected friend and fellow pilgrim is the pleasant pain of knowledge to reward on the loss of watering potassium by saying would come among just one more that day for nights when he desires to take leave of himself in a more particular manner with the word. He, he stared severely round his over fellow and went to solemnly out. There was precious consternation amongst the members of societies now lots of them wanted to resign, and Swarthmore began to try to make out that they had never belonged to it. However, the president stuck up and said that they must stand for together and just use a big Westminster piece over his body, which Westminster encouraged the societies, but it is on the two ends would give them his best opinions and advice in a few days. In first eagerly looked for as he knew a good deal of the West on account of his father's being in the West Indies as studies and dissertating and serving armies to over his last the president's called over fellows together and made the message clear. He says it was placed that friends or chessmates came on appointed days his first event would be to impress the societies and have its flags all around us, witnessing with joy the status of his enemies and gloating over the Christ with agony would extort from them the probabilities was that he would invite the president explained this against the popular parts of Asian parts as disarrangement. He says nothing to say but on the past recommend that's all available that should be filled with stone. Every failure to let fly as adjustment the ball and pride put the society's intellectual spirits and was unanimously taken. A post about adjustment sign was put up in the playground and all over fellow practiced as it still it was dinted all over when the days came and place where scholars every fellow said sat down in a tremble. There has been much discussing and disputing as to how Otismen would come, but it was the general opinion that the wolves appearing a sort of stump postcard drawn by four horses with two delivery servants in front, and the prize fighter in disguise up behind. So, us our fellow that's listening for the sound outfit, but nowhere were hit for Chessman rocket after all and gets into the school without any preparation. He is much he used to be, only dressed in black. James Clement says the Reverend President Hughes over so long, a respected friend and fellow pilgrim in the Pleasanton plan of knowledge. Its desire to stir a word or to extension gen lessment on one and all. Every fellow slot his hand into his desk and looked at the president. The president was already and checking him as adjustment with his eyes. What's this adjustment then? But walked up and to his old desk to round him with a queer smile as of if there was a tear in his eye, and begins in the quattering why, my dearest companion and old friend. Every fellow's hand came out at his desk, and the president suddenly began to cry. My dearest companion and old friend, said old Chessman, you have heard from out my good future. I have passed through many years and years under his roof. My entire life so far, I may say that I hope you have begun glad to hear out it for my sake. I would never enjoy it without it changing conversation with you. If we have ever misunderstood one another as or pray, my dear boy, let us friend forgive and forget. I have a great tenderness for you, and I am sure you return it. I want to the far fullness of a grateful heart to shake hand with you, everyone. I have come back to do it, if you please, my dear boys. Since the president has begun to cry, several other fellow has broken out there and there, but now when adjustment began, broken out to here and there, but now when adjustment began with him as first boy, laid his left hand affectionately on his shoulder and gave him his right, and when the president said, indeed, I don't deserve it, sir. You promised Oh no, I don't. There was sobbing and crying all over the school. Every other fellow says that it turns the soul is much in the same way, but Ochishman not minding, minding that a bit went cheerfully around to save every boy and wound up with every master, finishing out the reverend last. Then a sniveling little chap in the corner who was always under some punishment or other set up a shrill cry of success to Ochsman. Hooray! Hooray! The Reverend glared upon him and said, Mr. Chessman. Sir, Pastor Chessman protesting that he liked his swordsman a great deal better than his new one. Our fellow took up the cry, and for I don't know how many minutes there was such a thundering of feet and hand, and such a murmuring of old chessmen as never was heard. After that there was a split in the teaching room of the most magnificent kind. Flour, sugar, pretzel, west fruits, confectionaries, jellies, legacies, barleys, sugar sample, trifles, cracker is all you can and pocket what you like. Or at adjustment is pen, as the speak, boot holiday, double and triple sit-ups or manner of sing or some manner of game. Donkey, pony, chives, and try yourself. Dinner for all the master as it's when bell and roller holiday and fish for the day every year and another on adjustment birthday ribbon ran bound down before the fellow to roll it so that he could never make an at adjustment is pen as didn't our fellow go down in a body and cheer outside to seven well oh no but there's something else besides the look at the next of the trailer for there's more yet. Next day it was the result that the society should make it up with Jane and then be dissolved with what do you think of still being gone? So it was gone forever, said our fellow with long phrases to be sure all the answer they could get. None of the people about the house would say anything more. As late, the first boy took it upon himself to ask the Reverend whether our friend Shen was really gone. The Reverend replied severely, Yes, sir, Miss Peace is gone. The idea of calling Shen money from our chessmen. Other said she had gone into our chessmen service as a right of £10 a year. All that fellow no Rusty was gone. It was 2 or 3 months afterward when one afternoon an open carriage stopped at the cricket field just outside bound with a lady and gentleman in its who looked at the game a long time and stood up to see its players. Nobody thought much about them until the signature snivelling chap came in again or less rules from the first where he was school and said if Jan brought a rain forwards the game directly and ran grounding round the carriage. I was Jan in such a bonus and if will believe me, Jan was married to Old Testament. It soon became quite a rickshaw thing when a fellow were hatched at it in the playground to see a carriage at the lower part of the wall where it joined the high path and a lady and gentleman standing up in its looking over. The gentleman was already old chessman and lady was always young. The first time I ever saw them, I saw them in that way. There has been a good many change among our fellow then at each had turned out that Bob Tatter's father wasn't was million. He wasn't worth anything. Bob has gone for a soldier and our judgment had purchased his discharge, but that's not the case. The case stopped at all our fellow stopped as soon as it was being. So you had never sent me to Coventry after all, says the lady, losing us our fellows oneness up the forces shake hand with her. Are you never going to do it? Never, never, never on our side. I don't understand what she mean then, but of course I do now. I was very much pleased with her resource and with her good way, and I couldn't help looking at her and at him too, which are over very low, clustering so joyfully about them. They soon took notice of me a few bodies, so I thought I might as well swam after for myself and shake hands with them all the rest. This requires a glance to see them as her rest where and was quite quite as familiar with them in a moment. Only a fortnight now said I just went to the holiday host stopped any party. A good many finger point at me and a good many voice cry he just for it was the year when you were away. I rather low. I was about it. I can't tell you. Oh, said Old Testament, but it's solitary there in the there's holidays time. He has better come to us. So I went to just delightful house and was as happy as I could possibly be. They understood now to conduct themselves towards boy. They do when they take a boy to the play, for instance. They do take him. They don't go in after it's begun or come out before it's over. They know how to bring a boy up to look at their hand. So he is very tall, a jet. What's a capital? Boy, he is. Why, my favorite to Miss Chessman and Old Chessman is Young Chessman. So now have told you all I know about Old Chessman, and it's not so much as the or I am afraid is it. Thank you for subscriber or friend on YouTube. Wish you good luck and success all together. Bye bye.